What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Odin coming to you with another video, and today we're talking about Halloween. So I had to record this video early in the morning, so I have not gotten the full weekend projections at this point, with Sunday's numbers kind of baked into the estimation. But we do have some early estimations, and so I wanted to make sure I got a video out talking about the box office because I'm going to be trying to see 3 movies today, which is going to have me out pretty much all day and into the evening. And so I want to make sure that I'm able to get a video out for you guys to talk about the current box office numbers. And Halloween, guys, is looking like it's going to break records. The previous October record was set by Venom. It looks like this film will either beat that record or get very, very close. And so Venom was an $80.25 million opening weekend. This one's looking at about 80.3, and it could do even better because right now the word of mouth is, for the most part, pretty good. There are definitely some mixed reviews out there, especially when you look at a lot of other YouTubers. It's very mixed, so I can't wait to see it for myself and be able to come back to you guys, not just here, but also on my own channel as well, to talk about how I think the film matched up, especially to the original film. And I think that it looks like, based on everything I've seen, it looks pretty good. So I will get back to you guys with it. But at this point, it is still doing very, very well. It made $33.3 million on Friday, which blew out all the competition. In fact, the next 2 films that were up against it were films that came out about 2 weeks ago. So this is a film that's doing very, very well domestically at the box office. And I'm sure it'll also do well internationally as well. At this point, it has made about $33 million for a $10 million budget. This, to me, is like the most amazing part of the fact that this is what many would consider today to be a low-budget film, and yet it's doing very well. I mean, you got Jamie Lee Curtis coming back to reprise her role, to really just kick ass. There's now talk about how this is a very pro-Second Amendment type film. I don't know anything about that. I mean, to me, it's more of me. I feel like that when I see the film, I'm going to say, no, this is more of a, hey, this is a woman kicking some ass because, you know, her life's being threatened by an undead thing. So that's like how I would see it. But hey, you know, if you read into it, that's how you read into it, and that's all fine with me. Danny McBride was also a writer on this film, which to me is very, very interesting because obviously, you know, Danny McBride is known more for his on-screen persona, on-screen chops, and so him being attached as a writer here is very interesting to say the least. So I'm not exactly sure if this is going to try and play for comedy, be like kind of a dark comedy, or try and be more of a horror thriller film. Based on people that I've talked to, people whose reviews I trust, they said that it is definitely a very good thriller. It matches up to the same kind of thrills that are brought about by the original Halloween film and maybe a couple of the other Halloween films before it kind of went off the rails with some of the options out there. But it seems like this is going to be a good film, and the box office seems to be responding to that. Again, when we look to the fact that it got a B+, as I said in the article, got a B+ from CinemaScore, which is very, very good. It means that the film is being well received by most audience members, and that likely is going to lead to positive word of mouth, and positive word of mouth is usually what leads to films doing well overall. And we can see that also being matched up with the Rotten Tomatoes score as well. 80% from critics, which is actually very high for a modern day horror film. That is extremely, extremely high. So I'm very surprised that it got as high of a rating as it did, but also it is compared and rather complemented by a high audience score as well, with 79%. Again, about 4,000 reviews in, and they're giving it a 4 out of 5, which is very good. It's very good for this kind of a film, and this is it seems like this is the remake that has done things very, very well. So I'm definitely looking into that to possibly see if this is going to be a film that not only breaks the October record, but possibly even outpaces some other horror films that have come out recently, because horror films have kind of gone on the downward trend in my own mind. Not just, you know, box office numbers that they've been making less and less, but also the quality. The quality just hasn't matched up. So if this is a film that gets things back on track and puts kind of just this stamp on, no, we can still make 80s-esque horror films in today's world, you know, horror, thriller, slasher films in today's society, I think that's a good thing. The other films that really came out this week, there really aren't too many. The one I want to talk about, though, is The Hate U Give, which is spelled with that letter U, and I know that it's being done for a specific purpose. I know that's a part of like the dynamic and the overall aesthetic of this film, but it bothers me. It bothers me when things like that are put into titles, because it just continues to dumb down our culture and our society by saying, oh, see, we can spell things with, you know, grammatically incorrect. And it's just, again, it's a pet peeve. Really, there is no other thing other than being a pet peeve of mine, but it does bother me. But this is a film where, no surprise, 96% of critics love this film. 70% of audiences like it. So we see that there is a split here a bit, and it's still a positive rating from audiences, but we have to look into understand, why is there this almost 30-point gap between the two? Well, it's when you actually look into the fact that this is a film dealing with race relations, and this is a film that's obviously going to have an identity politics narrative to it. It's no surprise that the audiences are going to eat this up. It really is no surprise whatsoever. And I again, I'm sure that there's an audience that this is being made for that's absolutely going to love it, but general audiences, once again, want to be entertained. Now, you can be entertained in a variety of different ways. You can be entertained by being scared. You can be entertained by being informed of various social issues as well. The problem is that when you try and put forth a movie that takes one side of an issue, that tries to just kind of overplay your hand, I think that's when a film becomes a problem. And I really saw that the most. And again, this is a film that I have not seen, and I probably will not see just because I have no interest. Once again, I go to the movies when I want to pay for a ticket. I don't want to be preached to. And guess what? Most people don't want to be preached to, which is the reason why the film is not doing nearly as well as Halloween is. Let's look at Kent Turner put this, I think, in the best way possible. It says, Thomas's story is more involving because it places individuals front and center. Because Star is less enmeshed in her various relationships, the movie ultimately becomes more about the slogans. And that, to me, tells me all that I need to know. If it's a movie that's all about slogans, if it's a movie that's all about, Black Lives Matter, SJW, NPC nonsense, well, guess what? I'm not going to have any interest in that. And guess what? Most people are not going to have any interest in that either. And we look to the actual box office numbers, it's only made about $10 million, and that is as of today. So this is a running tally, and the last estimate, the last time it got updated, was on was of this morning, and it's only made $10 million, and it was a $23 million budget. So this film cost $13 million more than Halloween. First off, how does that even work? How does a film that's a drama, there's not any heavy use of CGI that I know of, how is that film, this film right here, costing more than Halloween? That makes no sense to me. If any film should have more money put into it, it should be Halloween, because it looks like this is them trying to revive a franchise, or possibly at the very least revive a genre. And it seems like they're doing that, but I just don't understand that. It just does not make any sense to me that that would happen. But once again, we see $13 million more put into this film, and guess what? It's not performing. And why is it not performing at the box office? Why is it not making that big money? Because it's a film with a message. And there's nothing wrong with films with messages, but this is not a message of hope. This is not a message, an uplifting message. This is a message of division. When you continue to try and sow the seeds of division, guess what's going to happen? People aren't going to buy your product. I'm so happy that this is happening to this film, and the only reason why I'm happy that this is happening to this film is because it's really exposing not only the leftist ideology of Hollywood, but also the fact that most general audiences don't care for that. The people that this audience is being made for don't go see movies, aren't going to actually go out of the way to give this movie as much money as they think it should be getting. And it truly is something that I think is important for us to see and for us to realize that, and Hollywood is never going to learn this lesson, because that's what Hollywood does. Hollywood would rather lose money on a film but get the message out there. That's what they would rather do, and it just ticks me off that that is the case, because we want good films. We want films that are entertaining. But anyway, Hate You Give, again, made for $13 million more, making significantly less money than Halloween, that was made for $10 million. Again, we look to the fact that this is going against a Saturday AM report. This is as of Saturday, with an estimated $33.3 million on Friday. Universal and Blumhouse Halloween is on its way to a massive opening and perhaps a new October opening weekend record. We go to the Fox's The Hate You Give, expanded nationwide this weekend into 2,000. So it already had been out. Now it's expanded and pulled in an estimated $2.5 million on Friday, and is looking at an $8 million three-day opening, which is abysmal when you look at the fact that they put much more money into that film, and you compare that to the other film that opened wide this weekend in Halloween, which is making gangbusters. The fact that it's going to be the second highest ranked film, the movie that the film that's making the most money. I mean, let's even see, has Box Office Mojo even updated its numbers at this point? Because it is interesting always to see the ones that are going to be the one. So it's not even. So this film, the film that we're talking about right now, is not even going to make in the top 3 movies. And why? What do we see there? What do we see that is making money? Halloween, horror film, slasher film, people that, a way to get people excited. Star is Born, again, good music, debatable whether or not you like it or not. I personally liked it, but good music, good story. And then Venom, which is also another film that I'm going to be trying to see today. But these are the three films that are making a lot of money. Sunday estimates, you do not even see The Hate You Give on any of these charts. And some people might say, oh, it's because it's not meant to make money. It's not meant to make any kind of money. But I'm sorry, you don't put $23 million. You do not put $23 million into an independent film, because if that's how it's being played, this is an independent film, $23 million is a lot of money to put in. And this is a movie that's starring Common. And Common has been very vocal about his politics. Has been very vocal about how he feels on certain things. And this is a film, if you put that kind of money into it, you're going to expect it to make its money back. At this rate, at this point, it would be lucky to make its money back. Because keep this in mind, it's only going to get 60% of that total box office. And at this point, it's only at $10 million. And based on what we saw there, it's going to be, what, an $8 million estimated opening weekend, like wide opening weekend. This is a film, like, if it's already making $2.5 million for the weekend, it's not going to make money. I'm sorry, but it is just not going to make any money past this point. Another film that's not making any money either, just kind of throw that in there, is Fahrenheit 11/9. Once again, if we're going to talk about this narrative, we're going to talk about how Hollywood is going to keep on putting out these narrative-driven films with a certain leftist NPC ideology, guess what? People aren't buying it anymore. People are not buying it anymore. Great example, Fahrenheit 11/9. This is a guy, Michael Moore is a guy who could have easily made a film. Like back in the day, every film that he made would make money. You go back to Fahrenheit 9/11. You go back to Sicko. You go back to most of his other documentaries. Most of them have made profit. This film probably made for a budget around $9 million, has only made $6. And it's not getting 100% of that profit. So it's not looking good for them at all. But guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? Are you going to see Halloween? If you did see Halloween, is it good? Is it worth seeing? If you're not, if you have not seen it yet, please let me know whether or not you actually plan on seeing it. But also, what are your thoughts on The Hate U Give? I honestly think that this is, again, a film made by Hollywood trying to push a certain political message, trying to push a certain SJW identity politics NPC message, and guess what? It is failing. And to me, I'm glad to see this because what it shows me, at least at this point, is that audiences are no longer buying into this nonsense. That audiences are not going to go out of the way. Now that audiences have more access to reviews, have more access to, to trailers. Like trailers are seen more often now because you don't have to actually go to the theater to see trailers. You can see them online almost instantly at this point whenever they're released. I think that is definitely feeding much into this story, but I guarantee you, if we're talking about films that are going to get awards recognition or going to get awards buzz, I guarantee you The Hate U Give is probably going to be on that short list because of politics, not because it's any good. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. Again, you guys are amazing. Cannot wait to see Halloween today. Also going to try and see Venom and a couple other films. Also the film Gosnell, which if you don't know anything about it, it's a film made about a man who essentially, the leftist NPCs will say, oh, there was a bunch of botched abortions and it wasn't his fault, or at least, if they do admit that he had any fault whatsoever, oh, it was a botched abortions. This was a man who would literally deliver children and then slaughter them after. So this is the biggest mass murderer. Like if you actually take in the amount of lives that he destroyed, this is the largest mass murderer in the country in our history. And yet he's never talked about. And what's going on right now is that theaters are pulling this movie, even though it's done very well for the type of film that it is, for the type of low budget film that it is, and the audience that it's made for. It's done exceptionally well, and yet theaters are pulling it out. And you can honestly see at that point, the reason why is because they don't want people to see that movie. But once again, films that are dealing with real life issues, staying, grounded in reality, telling the truth, oh, look, they're doing very well with audiences. On the other side, films that are blowing things up, trying to divide people, trying to just make crap up a lot of the time, not doing as well anymore. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.